Welcome to The Reality of Family Law with Bartos and Company.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Reality of Family Law with Bartos and Company. David S. Bartos is the managing attorney at Bartos and Company, LPA, helping clients across Northeast Ohio navigate divorce, custody, child support, and other difficult family law matters. I'm Sean O'Connor, and today David and I are talking about what actually happens when you file for divorce in Ohio and, what you can expect. David, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Sean. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I had a great holiday weekend as we're recording this, so I'm ready to get back to work. I know too. I mean, we're basically this is your inaugural podcast. Let's start by just talking a little bit about how you got into this business of law and grew your firm. Give us a little background.
Well, I believe in a little bit of karma. So let's just start with that. So I graduated from the University of Dayton, a long time ago, 93. I took 2 years off to see what's out there, take a look, do some work. But I worked in retail selling men's clothing, and it was the most mind-numbing experience anyone could ever have. And I was miserable, late hours, different shifts. So I was trying to figure out what to do. And, my girlfriend that I had just started recently dating, her dad was an attorney. And I'd always thought about becoming an attorney, but I didn't relish 3 more years or 4 more years of law school.
Yeah.
But I was just miserable. I went to lunch with my mom one day and we went to get some Chinese. And I was sitting there saying, hey, I was thinking about going to law school. My girlfriend's thinking I should. I talked to her about it. Well, we're sitting there. Everybody's staring at us. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. And my mom's like going, uh-huh. And at the end of the meal, I get our fortune cookie. And the fortune cookie said, you should be an attorney for no detail escapes your attention. I will always remember that. And from there on out, everything was behind me. Signed up for the LSAT, took the LSAT, went to 3 years of law school, passed the bar on the first time. And here we are.
Did you put that writ from on high into your application, so to speak?
No, that was kind of, how could I say, a little too out there. I was a county prosecutor for the first 2 years out of law school. And so I did that for a little while and realized that justice isn't necessarily blind all the time. And us attorneys like to argue aside. And, one of my former partners was justice is what comes out of the courtroom. And that kind of stuck with me. And you got to make your own justice sometimes.
Yeah.
And you have to argue the right things and the wrong things. But luckily, I've had a few partners in my life as far as law practices go. And in the course of the time frame, I have produced 1 judge, 3 magistrates. So I think I trained them too much because they all wound up leaving me for more justice to be produced in a better way.
Right.
So
yeah.
that's essentially
That's good. Yeah. They were, after complaining, they went out to go and do something about it. So that's good.
Yeah. Well, luckily, one of the attorneys in my office is a former magistrate. So now the trend is reversed. I got some magistrates coming to work for me rather than me training them to be magistrates. So
Interesting.
that's been good.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Let's talk about divorce in Ohio for people who haven't been there or might be heading there. Unfortunately, what does it look like? Filing for divorce in Ohio from the client's side. Those first few weeks, what can people expect?
Well, it really depends on where they're at. Because, we have people that I've been thinking about a divorce for 5 years now, and they want everything done immediately. You pick the wrong avenue to get things done immediately.
Hmm.
So it's a wide range. People come in and they're like, my husband just left me. He said he's filing divorce. And so you get the whole broad range. Divorces are slow. It depends on a lot of different factors. The court has some guidelines. The Supreme Court has some guidelines now that, divorces without children, you have to do within a year. Court has to get done within a year. With kids, it's longer. But a lot of times it's a year. Now, things can settle in the meantime, like after a couple months, and it just depends on how much people want to fight. Are we fighting over the spare parts of a kid's bicycle, in the garage, and that's the property we're fighting over? Yeah, it's going to take it takes a long time. And I usually say, hey, listen, go buy another bike. Just, you're spending money on me. Just go buy another bike. Yeah. So I try to keep things cost effective. But as far as the divorce goes, the most money in most litigation is done at the very beginning and at the very end. All the stuff in the middle is kind of analysis and some little bit of research and doing all that. So I'm lucky. I know a lot of that research already. I've been practicing for 26 years now, so I've learned quite a bit in that time frame. It sometimes just takes a long time.
Yeah. I hear it. I hear it a lot in different, it depends on all sorts of things. I get it.
So I guess more of the nuts and bolts. Okay. There's, when you file for a divorce, you have to serve the other party by certified mail. Okay. And that takes a while to do. Sometimes a spouse moves out and we don't know where that other spouse lives, and we have to get them served by certified mail. There's other ways to get them served, but that's usually the start of it. And then they have 30 days or 28 days from the day that they receive that certified mail to file an answer to the complaint. So you could be talking about a month and a half, 2 months before anything really substantive happens. And sometimes it just takes a while to jump on, because at the beginning, there's all the nuts and bolts of quick things. Who's living in the house if there's a house?
Mm-hmm.
Visitation schedules, where the money is, what do we need to protect? Because if you're delaying, the other spouse could be removing all of his funds from his retirement account, or taking property and moving it and hiding it. So all that stuff has to be set up in the beginning.
Well, speaking of, the timing or waiting, right? I know a lot of people wait longer than they probably should before talking to an attorney. And I'm wondering, from your perspective, what kinds of problems start developing when someone delays the process too long or delays starting the process?
Well, you have a spouse that, like I was saying earlier, they wait 5 years. I've been thinking about it, and now all of a sudden it's come to a head and there's a problem. Okay. So like I was saying, there's one spouse could be removing stuff, could be hiding money, slowly draining bank accounts. Luckily, I provide a free initial consultation. So the first idea is get the information. Yeah. Even if you're just thinking about it, and it's like, okay, even if you're not thinking about filing divorce for another 2 or 3 years, call us up. There's a million of us attorneys out there. There's a lot that offer free initial consultations.
Sure.
Call somebody up, whether it's me or somebody else. Get down to what you're looking at and what you have to protect. That's the first delay that causes problems, is not talking to an attorney and say, hey, what am I entitled to? What can I do to protect myself? The delays can consist of, one spouse taking off with the kids and you're left without any visitation, without, assets being taken and dispersed and gotten rid of. One spouse I had decided that he was going to clear out $30,000 from a bank account and go to Las Vegas and spend it on gambling and some other nefarious things that are fairly legal out there now, but they go through that $30,000 pretty quick.
Yeah.
But so there's things like that and the more you delay, the more someone gets entrenched in
Oh, yeah.
the status quo,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. That there's, I think, an inertia in a lot of cases where people like, yeah, we should have done this, or
Well, I had one case where it's like the one spouse took off with the kids to, let's say, Minnesota, and the kids got established in a school there. And the other spouse comes to me and say, "What do I do?" I said, "Well, how long has the wife been in Minnesota?" "Well, about 7 months now." And it's like the court's not going to like pulling the kids out of that school that they're not now entrenched in,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Took you 7 months to notice.
kids, yeah, kid. Well, I always thought she would come
Yeah.
back to
I get
me,
it.
and it's like, oh, it's and then they're stuck, and they're like, "Well, fix it." That's going to be tough to do, but let's try. Let's see what we got. So that delay causes kids issues. It causes financial issues. It causes end result issues of how the divorce is going to play out. So
What are people, what are the biggest arguments that usually come up early in a divorce case?
kids,
Huh.
kids, hands down, kids, hands down, child support, spousal support.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kids issues.
Yeah.
It's the kids issues.
Custody,
90
visitation, all of it.
90% of the time, it's the kids issues.
Mm-hmm.
The financial stuff could be worked out. If there's a house, you sell the house. One spouse gets a little bit more, because of what's happening in the beginning. They take $50,000. Well, it's going to come out of the house later on, but getting that initial visitation and that set up is really key if you have kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about, you're talking about like nefarious behavior and, draining bank accounts, that sort of thing. How much does someone's behavior at the beginning of the divorce affect the direction the case might take later?
A huge, huge consequences. We've got, like I was saying, a wife takes the children, okay?
Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the other issue. I mean, you're looking at the beginning, throughout the marriage, who was the one taking the kids to the doctors? Who was the one taking the kids to school? Who was the one getting them off the bus? If we're talking about past behavior setting up, the courts don't like to go past status quo. So if that's the spouse, that's the parent that has done that the entire marriage, it's hard to then say dad's going to now step up to do those things during visitation or anything like that. We got parents working, 14-hour days, and typically it's the male, and 14 hours, it's tough to say, well, now I'm going to back off of my job to be able to take care of my kids. And it's like, why didn't you do that to save your marriage? Why didn't you do that earlier? And so a lot of the stuff, the past behavior, sets up the future end of case.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff like the parent that says, I'm going to Minnesota to visit my parents for a while. And they're there for 3 weeks. And then it's a month and a half. And then it's 4 months. And you're stuck with the status quo.
Yeah.
Which parent looks like the jerk who just took off with $30,000? The judges don't like that pretty much.
Of that.
When you have a spouse taking off with stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the kids' issues depends on how much of a jerk the one parent is. Are they fighting over the bicycle parts in the garage?
Petty stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they look to see who's going to be more cooperative, who's going to be more informative to the other parent, and say, hey, listen, there's a doctor's appointment with Joey, and it is this date. Hopefully you can make it.
Yeah.
And if they do, or if they don't, more importantly, if they don't, then it's just like, oh, mom takes care of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just going to continue working my hours. And it's like, it doesn't go well for the visitation.
You've been doing this for, more than 20 years, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm curious, is there a scenario, I know you can't name names, of course, but where, someone came into your office with, a completely different idea of how the divorce was going to work in Ohio? I mean, whether that's like, well, in Hawaii, it's XYZ, or just some scenario like that you've seen that's notable?
All the time. All the time. Yeah, it happens all the time. Oh, I didn't know that. I had a client that came in, and unfortunately it was that scenario. His wife went to Minnesota. It's just fresh in my
Yeah.
my mind. And I was like, okay, well, you're in Minnesota, mom's still here, and the kids are here. What are you looking for visitation? And he says, well, maybe spring break and a couple weeks over the summer. And I'm like, okay. I said, have you ever thought about like one weekend a month in Cleveland that you come in and visit with the children, stay up at a hotel or whatever, and you spend a weekend, but then another weekend in the month, the kids come see you for the weekend. In summer, why 2 weeks? Why don't you ask for the entire summer? 8 weeks of summer, and your visitation just switch. Mother has the kids in Cleveland for a weekend, and another weekend she can go up to see them out of a hotel room. And he's like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And I'm like, yeah, you're the dad. You lived with them for 15, 16 years.
Right.
Why wouldn't you? And I mean, the guy makes some pretty good money.
Yeah.
So it's not like he can't afford to fly them up. So I'm like, we're gonna have to have a deeper conversation
Always, yeah.
about what to expect out of this.
And it makes sense, right? There's no reason that, someone who hasn't been through a divorce would know all the ins and outs like you do, right? So,
well, just another quick one.
Yeah.
Had somebody come in and they were married for 4 years, not very long.
sure.
One spouse had $700,000 in their retirement. The other spouse had $15,000. And she goes, well, I should come out of this pretty good because I get half of his retirement. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't. You get half of what's accrued during the marriage, only 4 years of the marriage. She's like, what?
Misunderstandings, misconceptions, I get it.
Yeah. So, we talk it through, and, sometimes it's some hand holding and getting through, and sometimes there's a really big fight over stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Well, David, great talking to you. We are, as always happens, up against time for this inaugural episode, but great talking to you. And I know we'll connect again in the near future.
well, thank you so much for doing this with me. And always good to get some information out to the public.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. That's it for today's episode of The Reality of Family Law with Bartos and Company. If you'd like to learn more about David and the work his team does, visit their website, bartoscompany.com. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, subscribe, leave a review, maybe share a link with someone in your world who needs this kind of information. Always appreciated. I'm Sean O'Connor. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.